Okay.
All right, folks, top shelf sports news means fine wine and spirits. Tonight, Red Stag. And just think, with this, you'll never go Stag. And of course, we're going to talk some Steelers football, so you got to think Rooney's, Wilson McGinley, and also Coons Market McKnight Road. And we're going to be doing a little Cinco de Mayo because Canelo Alvarez and Julio Chavez Jr. are going to be fighting on HBO pay-per-view Cinco de Mayo, May 6th. So hit the beach with Corona and Miller Lite once I get back to Pennsylvania and I'm responsible and I'm tucked away and hermetically sealed. I'll have one of those to finish tonight. But being that we're on duty, a little McDonald's Coca-Cola, and time to go to work. Again, Sportsline, AT&T, Dave Pasquale, and Ted Arnaud. And I heard you guys talking before we went to tape, so go ahead amongst yourselves, talk a little Kentucky Derby just weeks away. I don't have a mint julep, but I got a little Coca-Cola, so I'll take a few sips. And how do you guys see the Run for the Roses 2017 unfolding and some early favorites? Dave, you begin.
Well, you know, one of the early favorites is going to be a horse called Classic Empire. He's done very well so far. Obviously, he's lightly raced, but he looks like probably at this point in time the one to beat. Teddy and I were talking about the Dubai World Cup this Saturday, though, Rob, which features Arrogate, the horse that won the Breeders' Cup Classic and won that inaugural Pegasus horse race back in January. He's running in that Dubai World Cup for, I don't know, in Dubai it's probably $25 or $30 million before it's all over with. But from that standpoint, that's a big race coming. And then there are the prep races for the Derby. The Fountain of Youth was just run. They got the Arkansas Derby coming up, the Florida Derby, and the Bluegrass Stakes are the three primary preparatory races for the Kentucky Derby. And it's really too early to really center on number one, number two, number three. But as much as I've looked into it so far, it looks as though Classic Empire probably right now, if they were going off tomorrow, he'd probably be the favorite.
West Virginia Gonzaga will tip it off 7:39 TBS West Region tomorrow. I like Bobby Huggins, West Virginia, putting a lot of pressure defensively on their opponents. And I know Gonzaga, still with that name and what they've done in the past, their reputation, people think, you know what? This is going to be a year that they're going to maybe head to the Final Four. I don't think so. I actually believe that it's Elite Eight time for Bob Huggins and maybe even the Final Four.
I couldn't agree more. I think Gonzaga is a pretender. They've got a tremendous record, 34-1, but they've had a very weak schedule all year long, and I think WVU is a little bit underrated. Gonzaga overrated. I think WVU underrated. Look for them to be in that Final Four.
All right, CBS coming up tomorrow, just a little after 9:30. Number one, Kansas, Purdue. Kansas is just too good. They can shoot it lights out on the perimeter, and they get up and down the floor. I'm going to take Kansas in this one. Dave?
I like Kansas as well.
All right, next one, Arizona. Xavier, how can you not want Sean Miller? Of course, Blackhawk High School grad in Chippewa, just about a half hour from where we are. University of Pittsburgh. This may be his breakthrough year. Final Four, maybe even a national title. I think they will get by Xavier. It's Arizona, Xavier, little after 10 on TBS. Dave?
Love Sean Miller, and I love Arizona, but I've got Xavier on my bracket. And they're an 11 seed playing a 2 seed, and I really think that Xavier probably going to end up in the Elite Eight.
All right, Jim Nance, Grant Hill, the great player at Duke, and of course NBA, Bill Rafferty, and Tracy Wolfson on CBS South Region on Friday at 7 o'clock, North Carolina and Butler. I'll tell you what, Roy Williams had a tough time in the ACC tourney, but they never have a tough time when it really counts, and that's the big dance. I'll take North Carolina in this one, Dave.
You know, I'm going to disagree with you on that one. I think I like Butler because I think the ACC is dramatically overrated this year. I started out with Pitt beating Maryland at Maryland. And Maryland was Maryland was about I think they were about a 7 or 8 seed, something like that. And Pitt beat them at Maryland, and there were other ACC teams that just haven't done well in this tournament and haven't looked all that good this year. So I'm going to I'm going to take Butler in that one.
All right, then it's Baylor taking on South Carolina, who slayed Duke. And going into that weekend, they had not won an NCAA tournament game in 44 years. No matter what happens, great season for South Carolina. I don't think they have enough to get by Baylor. I don't think they have enough to get by Baylor. That's out of the East Region, TBS, 7:30 on Friday night.
And I'm taking the Baylor. I'm taking the 3-seed Baylor over South Carolina. South Carolina came out of the woods to get to the Sweet 16, and again, I just don't think those teams in the SEC and the Atlantic Coast Conference really have much going for them this year. So I'm liking Baylor, the number 3 seed.
Another big game this next couple of days, maybe the best one over the next 2 days. It is Friday after 9:30 on CBS. Once again, Jim Nantz, Grant Hill, Bill Rafferty, and Tracy Wolfson with the call. CBS, it is the FedEx Forum, Memphis, Tennessee. John Calipari out of Moon Township, Kentucky, and number 3 UCLA. As much as I like to see Kentucky win it, I think Steve Alford, it is going to be a statement the next couple of weeks for him at UCLA. He's going to go out with a national championship, and then he's going to go back to his alma mater where Bobby Knight taught him the game of basketball, Indiana. So I like UCLA in this one.
Love Lonzo Ball, and I like UCLA. I think UCLA will. It's one of my picks for the championship game.
All right, Friday, 10 o'clock on TBS. Vern Lundquist, the great Vern Lundquist with the call. It's Florida and Wisconsin. I'm going to go with Florida. What do you think?
Stay with you on that one. I think, again, the Big Ten hasn't impressed me all that much, although Michigan is doing a good job. But other than Michigan, haven't seen much from the Big Ten, so I'll go along with you on Florida. We'll
be back tomorrow night, Dave and I, along with Jim Equals at the Brighton Hot Dog Shop. Okay, Tyson Alalu. This is the guy who was a top pick. He was 10th pick overall back in, I believe, 2010 for Jacksonville. They really thought he would save the defense. He would be the catalyst. Didn't work out. Steelers now have him, Ted Arnaud, Cameron Hayward, Stephon Tuitt, Jason Hargrave. Where does he fit in that 3-4 defense?
Well, he's going to fit in as a replacement. He'll get snaps. He'll get 10, 20, 15 snaps a game because those big guys get worn out real fast. I think that's all they're bringing him in for is plus we had some injuries along there last year, so he'll be a backup and he'll get probably, like I said, between 10, 15 snaps a game.
All right, let's move on to Niles Davis, picked up also by the Steelers in the free agent market. Where do you think he is going to obviously be a backup to Le'Veon Bell? This guy has had some moments, but really he is a journeyman at this point in time. But the Steelers feel that they needed some, they needed a backup. You think he's going to be enough to get it done, Dave?
I think the Steelers are going all in for the Super Bowl. It looks as though they're addressing what seemed to be some of the weaknesses they had this year in with the signing of Antonio Brown and the hanging the franchise tag on Le'Veon Bell. I think they're really going to. I think they probably know that they probably have the leg up on the North Division, and I think they're pointing heavily toward the Super Bowl this year.
You think Davis is an upgrade over D'Angelo Williams, Ted?
No, I don't. But D'Angelo Williams is getting up there, and I think what he's looking for in terms of money, I think they need to retool the backups to Le'Veon Bell. I'm not even sure that they've got who's going to finally be his main backup yet. That could come in the draft, but it'll be interesting. There's going to be some good competition, but I was a big D'Angelo Williams fan, so I hate to see him go, but he does not have that much left in the tank, so I think they're looking to retool there. So I'm not sure this is the answer, though.
All right, World Baseball Classic tonight. You've got Team USA Puerto Rico, Jim Leland, the skipper, and after his performance, going to be a lot of major league teams asking the guy to come back and do what he did better than I think anyone in the game. But you also have Steubenville native Rich Donnelly, a friend, of course, of Ted and I as well. Many years together watching the great fights over at Mountaineer. He's the bullpen coach. But I got to tell you, because of all of your business relationships, Dave, in Japan, watching that Japanese team that lost last night, who was undefeated going into that game, just class personified, and it really is unique to watch these wonderful athletes from that part of the world play baseball. That's a sport that they're passionate about in that country, Dave.
They very much are, and shedding a lot of tears over that loss, and unlike them to fall on their sword for something like that too. They are very passionate about baseball, and they work very hard at it, as you can tell from some of the imports that we've brought over to this country, and some of the guys that have done such a good job in this country in our Major League Baseball. They really play the game hard.
Now listen, Ted, we got just a little bit of time here. We'll talk much more about it as we get close to the fight. But, funny thing happened on me kind of trying to find out what was the next big fight, and there it was. May 6th, Canelo Alvarez and Julio Chavez Jr. He's only lost 2 fights. Canelo's only lost 1. And Canelo coming off that vicious knockout of Amir Khan in their WBC middleweight fight. I can't wait for this fight. I mean, if you're someone that just loves people that are going to slug it out until one person falls, and of course, a lot of heart because of Mexico, I don't think you could ask for a better fight. And this is going to be happening right smack dab in that great holiday, Cinco de Mayo, HBO Sports pay-per-view. Early thoughts on Canelo Alvarez and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., and of course, his father, maybe one of the greatest pound for pound of all time. Ted.
Absolutely right about his father. I watched him fight, junior fight, and I don't know that he can keep up in this fight. I just think he just does not have the power to stay in this fight. So I'm looking for a mid-round knockout.
Ladies and gentlemen, that'll wrap it up from Legacy Studios, Jimmy Joe Savage's wonderful place here in that great community that I love so much. And now for Dave Pasquale and Ted Arnaud, I'm Rob Pratt. Good night.